Michael Rennie was ill the day the earth stood still, but he told us where we stand. And Flash Gordon was there in silver underwear. Claude Rains was the invisible man. Then something went wrong for Fay Ray and King Kong. They got caught in a cellular jam. Then at a deadly pace it came from outer space. And this is how the message ran.
Hi there, Dax again, and welcome to another episode of P.R.S.F. Today we're going to talk about a young man who went on a journey. A man who left his home to see this great nation we call the United States of America. Along the way, he had many strange and random jobs, got a certain degree of notoriety, and was even in the military for some time, until he ended up becoming a great storyteller. This man, of course, is Robert Sheckley. Robert Sheckley is an amazing sci-fi author that doesn't get the respect and admiration he deserves. He's a brilliant satirist who uses his sci-fi worlds to make comments on contemporary society. When he wants to be funny, he's absolutely hilarious. And when he wants to be dark, he's black as pitch. He has written some 30 novels, untold hundreds of short stories, has collaborated with other great writers such as Roger Zelazny, and has even contributed stories to the Aliens, Star Trek, Babylon 5, and even Batman universes. And yet, still, Robert Sheckley hasn't had the sort of notoriety as an Arthur C. Clarke or a Ray Bradbury, or even a Roger Zelazny. You may have heard of some of his works, particularly Immortality, Inc., and maybe To Mention of Miracles, which is considered to be a kind of proto-Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
That's impossible.
No, just very improbable.
But I think it's unlikely you've heard of this one, The Journey of Joenes. Now, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing Jonas right. I don't think I've ever heard anyone actually say out loud a name spelled Joenes. So I'm just going to go with Joenes. Now, The Journey of Joenes wasn't the book's original title. It was originally called The Journey Beyond Tomorrow. But I think the reprint title fits it better and is less science fiction-y. Remember the description of Robert Sheckley I used at the top of the show? The one about a young man off to see America, blah blah blah. Well, you see, that was an in-joke for the 10 people watching this video who's already read The Journey of Joenes. Because that description also really applies to Joenes. And no, I'm not suggesting that this book is in any way autobiographical. If it was, there was a world-ending nuclear war in the late 50s that I completely missed. Joenes is a young American man who grew up on a small Polynesian island because his parents ran a research station there. After their untimely demise, he decided to go and see his homeland of the United States, where he ran into a slew of silly characters, got himself embroiled in a ton of crazy schemes, and eventually even became America's linchpin against the communist threat. To my knowledge, none of that is true of Robert Sheckley, though those records could be sealed. The Journey of Joenes is a book written in a fairly unique way. You see, in the introduction, the fictitious editor tells of how the book is comprised of stories that were passed down in an oral tradition for over millennia, and this is the first time they've been committed to paper. The book, according to itself, comes from the 31st century. So, despite the fact that they are folk tales, these stories actually take place in the future. Dax. That's right, Jim Carrey, actor and star of such science fiction films as Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Batman Beyond, and Earth Girls Are Easy. The future. All the way to the year 2000. Mythological beings will be an everyday sight, but science and technology won't advance very much, except for a couple really powerful computers. Everyone will act like they're in a satirical version of the 1960s. Also, ancient Greece. The Cold War will still be going on. In fact, coming out soon will be Red Dawn 2, Electric Boogaloo. So, yeah, despite the fact that these stories take place in what's essentially modern America, they include many characters and events taken in part or near entirety from things like Greek history and mythology, Christian mythology, television and movies from the era, and other such disparate sources. Furthermore, the stories are told by 5 separate master storytellers. Ma'aoa of Samoa, Ma'ubingi of Tahiti, Pa'aui of Fiji, Pel'ui of Easter Island, and Taleu of Huahine, as well as 2 entries from the Book of Fiji Orthodox Edition, the Bible of the other major religion of the future written by Joenes' companion Lum. Because of this, the stories tend to contradict each other in detail, making the world a shifting thing that only exists to set up the scene for each story. Now, this description might make you think that the book ends up being an unintelligible mess, but Robert Sheckley is a much better writer than that, and the different elements flow together masterfully. Besides, you should be too enamored by the hilarity and the pitch-perfect social commentary and satire to get bogged down by minor logical inconsistencies that pop up from time to time.
Haven't you heard of suspension of disbelief?
Lampooned masterfully in this book include such things as McCarthyism, drugs, the rat race, artists, university life, utopia, the Cold War, religion, technology, the penal system, even modern medicine. And all of that is just naming a few. This book is a thoroughly enjoyable experience from beginning to end. I especially like my copy of it, because it's from the mid-70s, where they still had these magazine-esque tear-out cards or advertisements in the middle. Let's see what this one's for. 4 books for 10 cents? That's far too good of a deal to pass up. Let's see what they have here. Let's see. Have it. What's this? The Fires of Azeroth? And here I thought the Cataclysm was a new event.
But at last, the whole of Azeroth will break.
Have it. The Avatar? Daring men and women brave the unknown potentials of an alien transport machine, discovering more than they expected. So I guess more like... just as good. Have it. Ha! The first 5 Amber books in 2 volumes. Ha! I have all 10 Amber books in 1 volume. Booyah! Let's see, anything else look interesting? What's this say? Explicit sexual content may be offensive to some. Have. Wait a second. The stainless steel rat wants you? Is this what I think it is? It is! It's one of Harry Harrison's Slippery Jim DeGriz stories. I've been looking for these everywhere. This is totally worth it now. Now, just to tear this out. Got my envelope here. And add the dime. Oh, Dimey, you've served me well.
Dear Mr. Decktober, the Science Fiction Book Club has not existed at this address for a good 20 years now. This is now a branch of Wernham Hogg paper. We here found it rather amusing that someone would imagine that a deal from 1979 was still valid. Furthermore, we received a hearty belly laugh when we realized that you actually believed that anyone ever was going to send you 4 books for just a dime. You do realize that this was an introductory deal, the sort that only becomes valid after you pay double the retail price on 5 other books first, right? Finally, who sends cash in the mail? Next time you do something so asinine, you might like to do so with a check. As an object lesson, we have decided to keep your dime. May I suggest you refrain from being so foolhardy in the future? Sincerely, Mr. Francis Heathrin, CEO, Heathrin Corporation. Dictated, not read.
Well, that seems a bit uncalled for. Wait a second, that makes no sense. Why would the CEO of the parent company be in a branch in Garden City?
I'm pretty sure none of that's real.
You're not real. Huh?